Welcome to the VG tutorials. In this first video on automation in VGSTUDIO Max, you will learn how to work with macros to automate repetitive tasks and speed up your manual workflows. I will show you how to record a macro, how to include analysis and measurement tasks in a macro, how to run a macro, and finally, how to combine multiple macros to one. Let's get started. The use case I'll be working with is this pump bracket here, and a simple workflow of a nominal actual comparison. This workflow includes common operations like a surface determination, the import of the CAD model and alignment of volume object and CAD model, and finally, the analysis. What I will do now is record a macro for each of these workflow steps. To do so, I'll need the automation tool. You'll find the tool in the tool dock on the right-hand side. If it is not activated by default, just hover over the border of a tool until this arrow here shows up, and then right-click and select the Automation tool. To record a macro, I'll click the Record Macro button here. Everything I do from now on will be included in the macro. I'll start with a macro that includes the surface determination. I'll select the volume in the scene tree and open the surface determination dialog. What is important when automating a surface determination is that you set material definition to automatic, so that the ISO value will be calculated for each sample individually. Then I specify whatever settings I need and run the calculation. Once the calculation is done, I'll stop the recording. And as simple as that, I have recorded my first macro. I'll save the macro with a unique name, so that I'll have no problems locating it later. As soon as I have saved the macro icon will change from yellow to white. The macro details section here provides me with a description of the macro. As you can see, the macro consists of one step. I would generally recommend that you include only few steps in a macro. This way, you can reuse your macros more easily. And if something in your workflow changes, you won't have to start all over again. And if you want to combine your macros, there is the Combine Macros option that I will show you at the end of this tutorial. But of course you can include more than one step in a macro. For example, all the preparation steps of your project. In the case of my example workflow, let's record a second macro with the import of the CAD model and the alignment of CAD model and volume object. I'll start the recording. Then I'll import the CAD model. And align the volume object against the CAD model. Then I'll stop the recording. The macro now consists of two steps. The green arrow indicates an input file, and the path here shows me where the file is imported from. Let's save the macro as we did with the first one. So far, recording macros is not a big deal at all. The next step in my workflow is the nominal actual comparison, and this brings us to how to include analysis in macros. Here it gets a little bit tricky, because I cannot record an analysis directly in a macro. See, if I start the recording and open the Analysis tab, all the analysis are grayed out. Instead, I have to perform the analysis once and save it in a so-called evaluation template. And then I can record a macro with the import of the evaluation template. Ideally, I would perform the analysis and create the evaluation template before starting with the automation. Since I haven't done this, I will perform the analysis now. In the scene tree, I'll select the volume and set up the nominal actual comparison. And once I have my analysis, I can create the evaluation template. I'll right-click the volume and select Export Evaluations. I'll give the template a name and save it. Then I'll delete the analysis. And now I can record a macro with the import of the evaluation template. I'll start the recording. In the scene tree, I'll right-click the volume, select Import Evaluations, and browse for the file. In the Import dialog, I'll check that the options are fine for my project. and confirm. When the calculation is done, I'll stop the recording. And with that, I have created a macro that includes my analysis. I'll rename and save the macro. And I'm done. An evaluation template does not only include analysis, but also ROI templates, visualization settings, and more. And if you're performing measurement tasks and you want to include geometry elements, features, and local coordinate systems in your macros, you proceed the same way. Only that this time, you'll save the created items in a measurement template. And when recording the macro, you import the measurement template. Okay, I'd say that concerning the recording of macros, you're all set. So, let's load another dataset and run our macros. In the automation tool, I can still see the macros I recorded. This is because, on the Settings tab, I have the Remember Last Used Elements option activated. If that isn't the case, since I have saved them, I can load the macros via the Load button here. To play a macro, I'll select the volume I want the macro to run on in the scene tree. Then I'll select the macro. I'd say we start with the surface determination, and click on Play Macro. And look here. The surface determination has been performed on the selected volume, with the settings that I had specified during the macro recording. I can continue now and run the macro with the import of the CAD model and the alignment. Works perfectly as well. And, to round things up, let's also run the macro including the analysis. Nice. Okay, last piece of info for this tutorial. Remember that we talked about combining macros. If you have several macros that you would like to run consecutively, as is the case here, you can combine them to one macro. To do so, we'll cast a first glance at the advanced dialog of the automation tool. On the left-hand side, I can see a list of my macros. I can expand them to see the steps included. The macros will be combined in the order they are listed here. If I want to change the order, I can do that easily via drag and drop. Then I'll select the macros I want to combine, and click on Combine Macros. The new macro that has been created includes all the steps of the individual macros above. Let's save the macro. And run it on a new data set. In the scene tree, I'll select the volume. Then I'll select the Combine Macro and start the macro playback. And all the actions recorded in the macro will be performed on the volume. And that's it. In this video, you learned how to record and run macros to automate individual workflow steps. Remember that for a better reusability of the macros, record not too many steps in a macro. And if you want, you can combine multiple macros to one. And last but not least, analysis and measurements must be saved in an evaluation template or in a measurement template that is imported during macro recording. If you want to know more about automation in VGSTUDIO Max, make sure to check out our other tutorials on that topic. I hope you enjoyed this video. You'll find a list of all our tutorials on our documentation landing page via Help, Show Tutorials. Plus, make sure to register on Nexus and make it your go-to place for sharpening your expertise. Get access to this video and other information material to get the best out of our software. And visit the VG community to exchange ideas, ask questions, and discuss topics with other users and our Hexagon experts, and stay up to date on the latest news and developments. Register now, a world of insight awaits. Thanks for watching, and see you soon on Nexus.